Yo. Look crazy, look ridiculous. Ridiculous. Crazy, look
Crazy, look ridiculous.
breaking news. Sort of. We're going to be looking at governments cracking down on Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin mining, but also cryptocurrency as a whole. And if you ban Bitcoin mining, you pretty much banned every other form of mining as well. And there's proponents of saying, forget mining, death to mining, whatever. Well, we're going to jump behind the green screen and we're going to break it down because my name's Vosk, you're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, and I am building out a solar-powered Bitcoin mining farm. So if everybody is shutting Bitcoin mining down, this could end up being the worst move of my entire life. So let me share my research with you. Here's that catchy hook. It may surprise you. Crypto mining capacity in the United States rivals energy use of Houston. Findings show. The findings. And this is where it's kind of interesting. A congressional investigation highlights how the surge in activity has caused consumers' electrical bills to rise and makes it harder to fight global warming. Classic hit piece by mainstream media, New York Times, and every mainstream media is just it's propaganda. It's crazy. It's astonishing. But let's just glance at this and see. We need to be aware of what our enemies are doing. To put it simply, Bitcoin mining facility in Texas. Members of Congress are examining the environmental impact of virtual currencies, per this picture here. So, several of the largest Bitcoin mining companies in the United States are set up to use nearly as much electricity as all the homes in Houston, according to data disclosed Friday by the congressional Democrats, who say that miners should report their energy use. The spin is simple, thanks to good old Senator Warren. The limited data alone reveals that crypto miners are large energy users that account for a significant and rapidly growing amount of carbon emissions. Well, let me tell you, Warren, okay, most miners use reusable energy. What do you do besides waste my money and inflate the United States currency that's backed by nothing? But I don't even want to go down that path today. You know what I want to reform? The government. How about we start by reforming there? Democratic lawmakers ask federal agencies to crack down on crypto mining. They want crypto mining companies to report their energy use and emissions. This is basically the same spin that the New York Times has here, but they make it a little more clear there in the headline. They're using over 1 gigawatt of electricity here, and US has really just emerged as the #1 country for mining, basically due to the simple fact that it's a safe environment, whether that's for your facility or just kind of for your hardware. The US is not perfect by any means, but they're not just going to show up and take your crypto miners away from you, like we've seen in numerous other countries. They claim that moving from China, and China basically cracked down on mining and especially Bitcoin mining, and which caused a big overflow of miners to the United States, making the Bitcoin network even dirtier. Well, actually, it's the exact opposite of that. This journalist is an idiot. Moving on. The crude marriage of oil drilling and Bitcoin mining gets a wary eye from Adams County. Well, I don't really care about Adam. Okay, but apparently Adam cares what we're doing. They shut down 4 crypto operations, saying they need to devise rules first. Well, how about you come up with your little preliminary, maybe we're going to use this rule set, and we'll go from there. It's just insane. They show up and just shut them down to the untrained eye. The nondescript boxes and containers scattered around some oil and gas wells in Colorado look a lot like equipment typically found at a well pad. Boxy, utilitarian, and industrial. But inside these particular containers, a kind of otherworldly magic is happening. I agree it's a little magical. Dozens of high-powered computers. Quietly. Have you ever heard a miner, man? They're not quiet. They're incredibly loud and annoying, especially Bitcoin miners, which is what's taking place here. But back to this. Crunch complex math prompts. They're actually simple math prompts in an act of cryptocurrency mining, whereby virtual currencies like Bitcoin are created and added to a kind of worldwide cryptocurrency ledger. A Bitcoin miner is essentially in a race with others to solve these math problems, and the winner gets Bitcoins. Good job, Jerry. You get a Bitcoin today. Thanks for mining. Is a prize for their efforts. This is a mobile data center on wheels. Where are the wheels? I don't see the wheels. Doesn't look like it has wheels. But here's what's cool about these. They're powered by a generator that whips up electricity using natural gas pulled up from the ground. Gas that often has nowhere else to go but into the atmosphere. So this is actually a really cool play on Bitcoin mining, using excess gas that's going to go ahead and flood the atmosphere here. A greenhouse gas, if you will. So this is an interesting development in Bitcoin mining that's been taking place over the past few years. And it's interesting that they would jump to shut it down instead of embrace something like this. I could talk about this in more detail, but we'll leave that at that. We touched on this a couple days ago, but I just want to mention it if you didn't watch that video, which you totally should, and subscribe to the VoskCoin YouTube channel because we're uploading almost daily still. I've been taking some days off. What can I say? It's a bear market, man. I'm trying to take a breather. But the Sweden prefers steel over Bitcoin miners as power gets scarce. And that's going to be what you see. Like, Bitcoin mining is, they're going to say, screw them, F them, whatever. Let's do this. Like, something tangible like steel is much more interesting to 99% of people instead of a digital currency like Bitcoin that could liberate them financially and is ushering in the next financial era and evolution of currency as we know it. But they'd rather have some steel. That's the same species we are. But Bitcoin miners aren't just all these golden heroes. Major Bitcoin miners actually are major dumpers. Yeah, better change that diaper, bud. Because Bitcoin miners' troubles trigger a death spiral for BTC price. Forced selling from Bitcoin miner raises concern about BTC price, but the use of renewable energy and oil and gas industries' growing interest in BTC are long-term positives. Some say that Bitcoin miners are hitting a death spiral, right? And what is a death spiral exactly? Well, in this scenario here from Corey, who's gotten press here for better and worse recently, as a result, we are seeing Bitcoin's hash rate drop and an uptick in Bitcoin miners selling their Bitcoin holdings in order to pay operational costs and service their debt obligations. In bear markets like this, inevitably, a Bitcoin critic comes out and says that Bitcoin will soon collapse from a miner death spiral, meaning that miners will go offline because it is not profitable to run their operations, and then Bitcoin hash rate will fall. Here's some data though. Bitcoin miners sold nearly 400% of their production in June. Yeah, that's more than 100%. That means they sold holdings. Okay, that's bad. That's bearish. But, right, Bitcoin miners withdrew a huge number of coins from their wallets, suggesting they may be planning to sell them. This can be evidenced by looking at miners' reserves. So, essentially, we're seeing the biggest pull and sell in pretty much a year about. And what happens is Bitcoin miners normally miss like the peak time to sell their coins. And then things get bad and they continue to hold, hoping things will get good. And then they get worse. And then major miners, as well as really just most crypto investors, then decide to dump. Instead of, taking impressive and even just moderate gains, they get greedy, they get risky. And a lot of people end up never realizing those just incredibly enticing gains that have now evaporated.
And it's gone.
I've talked a lot about strategies for things like this on the channel before, but definitely take some profits at some point, because everything that you really were playing for, just kind of USD point of view, can quickly go to the moon and then come right back down. And it's not all about the dirty dollar, but at the end of the day, having a couple extra dollars could help a lot of people. And these big Bitcoin mining farms operate as really cash businesses. Their electricity bills coming in, you guessed it, dollars. All of their investors that made their mining monopoly possible, they want their dollars. But we have this take, which just, wow. So, who says Bitcoin mining needs to be profitable? In addition to profits, Bitcoin mining can also offer consistent electricity demand and can clean up the air by utilizing electricity made from wasted methane. This comes back to a different form of gas mining here. They say that really mining is not sustainable with coin emission because Bitcoin transaction fees are only 2% of the mining revenue. So when basically we're out of Bitcoins to mine, there's really not much mining profitability left, but there will be literally billions of dollars in Bitcoin mining infrastructure sitting there saying, well, where do we go from here? I want to say there's a little bit of an aside, but one thing that never really crossed my mind, which is an interesting point here from Nick Carter, is recycle ancient coins, say 10-year-old, into the miner's subsidy. Basically what that means is that you have these old coins that have not moved in over 10 years, and they would basically just be put back into the chain, right? They would, in essence, be revived, but they're not just given out or taken by some central party or whatever. They imagine just adding 1 million coins, right? That can be mined, but you still have a 21 million cap, and the old million coins are in essence deleted, and the new million coins are set to be mined on, say, a new mining schedule. I think that is an interesting way. There will have to be interesting discussions to see how Bitcoin develops and evolves moving forward. Most people didn't think that Bitcoin would make it to this point, let alone the next point, right? With age and progress comes new hurdles. Like Putin, who signed a ban on crypto payments in Russia. This is recent news coming after mixed signal from Russia's leaders and regulators, and based on what I was reading, it was looking like crypto was in a pretty solid spot. But no, it's not looking too good. And again, just to recap it, if you're not familiar, China banned Bitcoin mining. But here's what's weird, is China is once again contributing a significant chunk of the world's Bitcoin mining operations despite the ban last year. China's contribution to Bitcoin mining network was second only to the United States, according to the CCAF Bitcoin's Electricity Consumption Index, which maps the mining activity around the world based on geolocational data reported by partnering pools. The crackdown last year led to China's share being apparently reduced to 0%, but now that's all the way up to 22%. As always, I wonder if anybody knows anything. Some days I even ask myself included. I can definitely ask you one last thing, is to check out the cutest dog in the world. That's gonna be Tails, our resident Shiba Inu, our Shibby Dibby, our Dogecoin, and the owner of the VoskCoin YouTube channel, as well as our operating CMO, or Chief Mining Officer. My name is Vosk. I'm the dude who's on the videos, working down here in the basement, kind of somewhere between like an intern and a janitor. I need some more support around here, so if you could subscribe and I don't know, ask for a day off and a raise for me, preferably at the same time, that'd be great. As always, seriously, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.
When you let me, baby.